How's it going, guys? Josh here with the Salford Swablus, and we've just finished the main season of the Big Juice Champions League. Season 3, playoffs are starting this week. It's been very exciting. So, I'm going to recap how I've done the season. I'm going to have a look at my team, sort of strengths and weaknesses, how each member did. So it's going to be great. So, let's have a quick look over just the basic rules of the league, in case you're not watching, unless you're not part of this league and you haven't seen it. So, it's a national dex draft where every Pokemon can learn every move they've ever learned. So we're not counting any moves that have been lost in Gen 8 and 9. You can use Hidden Power, you can use Pursuit, any moves like Scald that have been taken off their back. 16 teams in a 14-week season. So I faced off against So we split into 4 divisions of 4 teams. There's only one division that I didn't get to play. We'll get to that later on anyway. So it's tier points based. So we've got tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we get 3 picks. We get a free mega pick. And then we get 400 points to pick 4 more Pokemon. So we all have 10 Pokemon at the end of it. All games are best of 3. Now, this was new to me when we joined, but I really enjoy this. I think it gives you a fighting chance. If you lose the first game, you get a bit unlucky, that's fine. You learn a bit of information about your opponent, you strike back. There's a few games here where I've lost that first game and come back and won the set 3. And then when playoffs start later this week, we're doing best of 5s. So that's going to be very interesting. So, Terra Pokemon. So only one Pokemon can terrestrialize, and we've had to declare the type early on. We can only change that once in the season. So I'll show you which Pokemon that was. And finally, item clause. So we can only have one of each item on a team. So no like doubling up leftovers, no doubling up choice items or assault vests. So you have to be a little bit creative. Sometimes, you want to put 2 leftovers Pokemon on your defensive core, but got to change it up in this league. So that was interesting. So let's go through the team. I'm going to do this in the order that I drafted it in. So we're going from pick 1 right through to the end. We're going to talk about some of the Pokemon that I've changed throughout. So without further ado, Great Tusk was our first pick, and it came to all 14 games, got 29 kills and 19 deaths. This was our team captain. Such a supportive Pokemon. You've got offensive capabilities, defensive, that equal 131 attack and defense was amazing. You've got Stealth Rock and Rapid Spin. This is amazing Rapid Spinner. There's nothing this Pokemon does badly. It's really amazing. So we can run leftovers, we can run Assault Vest on it. Assault Vest wasn't too great. I think his special defense is his big weakness. I want to say his special defense is that bad that Assault Vest doesn't really make a big difference when I was doing a lot of damage calcs. But that physical defense is so good that we can run max speed, max defense with body press and still be have a real offensive presence, but it'll be a lot bulkier. So there's so much you could do with it. My favourite set was the Choice Scarf. I had a lot of good fun, a lot of luck with that. It saved me in a few games, just being able to outspeed. A lot of times you can go Adamant Nature Choice Scarf, get a really high attack stat, and just go in with those headlong rushes and close combats. You've got Knockoff as well. So let's look at some of this. So this is a Choice Scarf set. We've got a Mega Aerodactyl, it's already boosted up. But with the Choice Scarf, that saved our game there. And same here, we've got an Iron Treads that's already getting its speed boosting. It does outspeed, that was quite unlucky. But because we can take those hits, just secure that win. And we take out the Armor Rouge as well. And finally, here's another game where the Great Tusk just puts in the work with that damage output. We're stalling out the Sableye's recovery. should have gone for another recover there, but that won us the game eventually. He is going to die here, but we'll show you what happens a little later on with that. So then we have Altaria. Of course we have Altaria. We have Mega Altaria. We had Salford Swablus. We're picking the mascot. And Mega Altaria came to 9 out of 14 games. Got 17 kills and 18 deaths. So not quite as offensive of a presence, but it did put in some work. I'm sure you can see that picture in the background. We'll get to that game in a second. But there's so much you can run on this Pokemon. So you've got, you can run physical or special sets. You can go offensive or defensive. You can go Cotton Guard with max special defense, be very bulky, have roost options as well. Dragon Fairy is an amazing typing, but you've got that Fairy ground coverage with Earthquake and Pixelate Return, which is quite common to run on a Dragon Dance set. But having the option to run those other sets just really rounds out this Pokemon. So let's have a look at this game here. So he switches in, we get Dragon Dance up. That Oko on return, he brings in Talonflame, thinks he can't do much. And then I realise, if he's not going to burn me, I can just keep Dragon Dancing up here. And we're going to get to that 1400 attack that you saw in the background. And just stacking it up so I can just guarantee that I can KO this Talonflame, because I know it's a flame body. So it just minimizes that chance of getting burnt. And now return is just going to go through everything here. So next up we have Ferrothorn, the Wall, which came to 12 of the 14 games. Got 19 kills. That's more than Altaria did. This is a defensive Pokemon. And 20 deaths. So, yeah, despite being my most defensive Pokemon, this is a real powerhouse. A lot of that is down to Leech Seed. Leech Seed plus Leftovers or Toxic. You've got Knockoff. You can run Body Press sets. Also, the Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet really helps wear down. There's any physical attacker, unless it's a fire type, just gets worn down by this thing. It's to the point where it can take it out itself. So yeah, you're either running Leftovers or Rocky Helmet on this. It just depends whether you want more steady recovery, if you don't think you can set up Leech Seed enough, or the Rocky Helmet just wear down those physical attackers. So let's have a look at that Leech Seed. This is from week 1. So it just takes that Brave Bird and really wears down Fortnite as well. Set up a Leech Seed and we just start really wearing it down. Spiritomb. It's going to burn us, but we're okay with that. We get Toxic up. Look at us just wear that thing down. And Leech Seed just takes it out completely. And we've got from the same set a later game, watch this Ferrothorn wear down a Mega Garchomp here. So obviously we get Rocky Helmet. We miss a Toxic, but you know what? We're okay with that. We get up. Get Leech Seed up. We survive a hit. Get Toxic, and that just guarantees we take it out. Lovely stuff. So, next up we have Hisuian Samurott, the Sword. 11 out of 14 games. 25 kills this time. And 19 deaths. So a bit more of an offensive Pokemon. But sharpness boosted stab moves. You've got Water and Dark, Ceaseless Edge, Aqua Cutter or Razor Shell. And you've also got Aqua Jet and Sucker Punch. So you've got dual priority stab, which is amazing. But Ceaseless Edge really makes this Pokemon. The fact that I can attack with sharpness boosted attack and set spikes. That's really putting some work in these games. So we're pretty much always running either Choice Band or Choice Scarf. I really tried as much as I could to run Choice Band on this Pokemon. Sometimes you just need to get faster than the opponent, but I think you really sacrifice some of that damage output unless you're running Choice Band. So I really tried to do that. So let's have a look at Samurott in action. Ceaseless Edge, just going to Oko and set up a layer of spikes. It's fantastic stuff. And at the end of that same match, that priority Aqua Jet, Choice Band, Adamant Nature just really saved us there. And next up we have the pest himself, I Am Moth, and he was Terra Grass type. So originally at the start of the season, I picked Terra Flying. And my reason for that was that I didn't have a lot of resistance or immunity to ground types. So I thought, let's go for Flying type. What I realized quite early on is it suffers Stealth Rock quite badly. So if I go Grass type, I still get a lot of the same coverage. I get resistance to ground, but I don't get that Stealth Rock weakness. So I Am Moth came to all 14 games. The only 2 Pokemon that came to all the games are I Am Moth and Great Tusk. And I Am Moth got us 42 kills and 22 deaths. So obviously the offensive MVP of this team, really good late game cleaner. The best set we ran on this was Agility easily. You set up in Agility, you outspeed everything, even with a modest nature. And then Fiery Dance just lets you keep boosting your special attack as you go. You just become more and more powerful, and you just absolutely run through some teams. And then Booster Energy, you can either boost your special attack, get started, or boost your speed if you want. I didn't do that too often, but I did in the first few matches. You have to sort of EV, take a little bit special attack out, but you get that back when you start Fiery Dancing up. So it really depends on what you want to outspeed before you get an Agility up. So let's have a look at I Am Moth in action. We come in, get an Agility up, and just look at him go. We're going to tear through this entire team. And as we go, just keep getting those Fiery Dances up. And we end on +2 special attack, +2 speed, Quark Drive. And then we have Goodra, the sponge. Goodra came to 5 out of 14 games, got 4 kills and 7 deaths. So, not quite a strong a performance. We're getting into some of the Pokemon that kind of alternated a lot more. So Goodra can take a lot of hits. Put an Assault Vest on it, a lot of special hits, 150 special defense is nothing to joke about. Apart from one instance that I'm going to show you later on. But you've got a lot of coverage with this Pokemon. So originally I wanted the Hisuian Goodra. I can't lie, that got sniped. I think the turn before I was about to pick it, so I went for Mega Altaria instead. I was going to get Mega Altaria anyway, but so that was quite unfortunate for us. But I still think Goodra put in some good work, especially in some of the earlier games. Just sponging a special hit, firing back, you've got lots of coverage. Mostly just running an Assault Vest on it. So, unfortunately, its highlight is this unlucky critical hit here from the Latias. So we get one of our kills. This Latias comes in, gets an unlucky crit there, takes out the Goodra. So that's, yeah, also gets the second crit on Great Tusk. So that was quite unlucky. And I think that's maybe why Goodra didn't make quite as many games, because a lot of the special hits I wanted to take, some of the later games from Pokemon like Fluttermane, even Latias here, Goodra wasn't gonna, because it was just weak to those types. So overall, not bad, not great, not terrible. Next up though, we have Galvantula, the Webs. Now this came to 6 of the games, got us 2 kills and 10 deaths. Now you might be thinking, Oh, that's not very good. But Galvantula put in work. Galvantula is not meant to be a killer. Galvantula's job is to set up Sticky Web and then die. If it does anything more, that's great. If it gets a kill, fantastic. It gets a Thunder Wave as well as Sticky Web, amazing. But also you've got hidden power, you've got momentum with Volt Switch that can turn into something else, and you've got that Compound Ice Thunder. Just boost that damage output a little bit. I know I didn't get too many kills, but I did manage to get some damage on, just wear some Pokemon down. So I'm either running Heavy Jeep Boots if I think I'm not going to die straight away, if I think I'm going to switch into some other Pokemon, want to get rocks up, or a Focus Sash just really guarantees if I send out turn 1, no matter what he sends out, I'm going to get those Sticky Webs up if I want them. So let's have a look at this first game in week 5. This really shows the impact of Sticky Webs here. Okay, good amount of damage. So I'm skipping ahead here. So we get the Sticky Web up here. He's got some screens, but it's not too bad. And he dies. He's done his job, that's fine. We get the kill, Slitherwing. This Mega Aggron comes out. Get a little bit of damage on it. Surprised he didn't Terror there. But when Iron Moth comes in here, gets the speed up. No, it doesn't get speed boost. But Sticky Webs wins us this set here. So it's just those small differences that Sticky Webs does, and it just really helped out when I needed it to. So next up we have Maushold, which came to 11 games, got 11 kills and only 4 deaths. Wait, no, it didn't come to 11 games. That's wrong, sorry. It only came to 4 games. Scratch that out. That's my bad. Okay, so anyway, the mouse. Nothing pops off like family, you know? You got the 4 of them all together. You come in, you run the exact same set on this Pokemon every time you bring it. You run Population Bomb, Bite, U-Turn, and Tidy Up. So Tidy Up, you can get rid of hazards. That's really useful. I think that did help once or twice. But Tidy Up really is just a Dragon Dance for you. And that just, once you get a Tidy Up, there's very little your opponent can do, which is amazing. And the Wide Lens just makes sure your Population Bomb hits as often as you can. So let's have a look at Maushold in action here. So this was the game earlier. Great Tusk comes out. Just look at Population Bomb go. This is without a boost, by the way. Even to an Iron Treads, a pretty bulky steel type. You take it out in 6 hits. It's amazing. Do we have another Maushold clip? We have another Maushold clip as well. We get the Tidy Up here. That's amazing. Bite, flinches, lets us take out Gorgeist. Now he's gone. He's gone. This Population Bomb. You're doing nearly 20% on each of those hits. Over 20%. It's not enough. It's not enough there. Even Baxcalibur, the Ice Shard. Just look at that HP go down. See, he could have Ice Sharded and killed me there, but I had to. He didn't stand a chance against these two, so he just let Maushold take it. That's great. So, Pokemon number 9, we've got Rotom-Fan, which was originally Drifblim. So, we had Drifblim for most of the season. So, Rotom-Fan came to 4 games. But considering I drafted it in week 11, this came to every game since it was drafted. It's got us 3 kills and 6 deaths. Not too bad. Drifblim in 10 games came to 3 of them. Got 1 kill and died 7 times. So pretty clearly this was a bit of an upgrade. The inconvenience, I've called it there. So the job of Drifblim originally was to spread status, just to be annoying. It had Tailwind, it had Trick Room. I didn't end up using that too much. Destiny Bond came out once, that was fine. But when Rotom-Fan came in instead, spreading those Thunder Waves, getting the Volt switch up, which Drifblim didn't have, defog options, there was just nothing this Pokemon couldn't do. Sort of. But I could either invest in speed, invest in Volt. For a tier 5 pick as well, with those kind of stats, you really can't go wrong with this Pokemon. So pretty much just running heavy duty boots, maxing out that HP, and then either speed or some of the defensive stats. Just make sure we get some Thunder Waves off, and just pivot nice and safely into some of our offensive Pokemon. So let's have a look at Rotom in action here. Pain Split's not the most reliable recovery, but it does the job here. It wears them down a little bit. But here we get we take that, we get a nice Thunder Wave, and then we pivot into Iron Moth, and you've seen that replay. You know what happens from here. Iron Moth clears all 6 of those guys, thanks to Rotom switching it in nice and safely. We're going to see it in action again here. Oh no, where is it? Here we go. Here we've got Sticky Web. With max special defense, we take a hit from Fluttermane. We get Thunder Wave up. That's going to really help us later on outspeed that Fluttermane. That's fine, that defog, because we then Volt Switch out, and we still have our Hazard Setter in Galvantula there. So we get the upper hand with those Sticky Webs. Okay, so then our last Pokemon. Primeape and Lipard. So I drafted Lipard initially. I thought I needed something. I needed a tier 5 Pokemon. Might as well get one with a good ability prankster. But as we see here, so Primeape only came to 2 of the games. 1 kill, 4 deaths. Lipard I did not bring at all, which is why I swapped it out eventually after a few weeks. So Primeape, I was looking at another team with Annihilate and thought, Primeape is in tier 5, it gets Rage Fist and Drain Punch, it can use a Violite, it might come in handy, it might not. If not, I've got a pretty good team already. It's also got additional Stealth Rock support, so don't always have to run it on Great Tusk as much. Unfortunately, its highlight here is against Chien-Pao. So that critical hit mattered there. Reason being, I was EV'd defensively to survive that hit. I was calculating, like, I will survive this hit from Chien-Pao. I can Drain Punch back. There wasn't an awful lot I could do with the rest of my team at that point, but I would have taken out Chien-Pao at the very least. So this is the team altogether, all 10. So what do I think of this team altogether? I really enjoy using this team. It's got some really good strengths. So let's look at our offensive power here. So we've got the Tusk, the Altaria, the Moth, the Samurott, and Maushold, putting some real damage, whilst most of them also offering some other kind of utility, whether it's setting up hazards, whether it's just the versatility of this Pokemon, there's hazards, the hazard removal, the defensive utility of it as well. So I'm really happy with my sort of offensive core here. Defensively, we've got a lot of options as well. We've got Rotom, Goodra, kind of, as I was saying earlier. Ferrothorn really put in the work as our defensive MVP here. And Altaria and Tusk also can run more defensive sets than I did, especially with Great Tusk. Not so much with Altaria. Now, in terms of hazard setting and removal, pretty much everything here is highlighted. So hazard setting is our red. We've got Great Tusk that can do both, which is fantastic. Altaria is a decent defogger sometimes. Ferrothorn sometimes was a spike setter, but I wanted those additional layers. Samurott obviously layering those spikes, did an absolutely great job. Iron Moth can run toxic spikes. I think I bought it one game and it did not go very well. But that's fine, it's not particularly its job. But I've got Defogger and a Tidy Upper. We've got the Sticky Webs obviously and the additional Stealth Rock. Not that Primeape really got a chance to use it. But I really enjoyed having a lot of options for hazards and hazard removal. I think that's something I'll continue to sort of develop as a play style. In addition to that, we've got a lot of status spreading. I'm sure Altaria and Goodra have Toxic or something as well. But we've got some really... our last game, if you watch our last video, you'll see that these two here put in some serious work getting Thunder Waves up that really helped us in the late game. Ferrothorn getting off those Toxics as well, just helps drain the opponent. Now, I think the biggest weakness on this team is probably momentum. So as you can see here, we've got Volt Switch, U-turn, Volt Switch, U-turn. Iron Moth also has U-turn, but I never used it. I think it always favoured having that just extra coverage move or agility. I could just never find a spot to put U-turn, especially with the booster energy as well. Once Iron Moth is in, I want to keep it in until it's dead, for the most part. So the problem here with not having too much momentum is switching in these more offensive threats safely. Found I struggled with quite a bit, which is, I think, is why Rotom-Fan has ended up coming to pretty much every game since I've drafted it, because a really nice slow pivot can take a hit, switch in safely to something else here. You saw what it did with Iron Moth. But having another Volt Switcher, I think having a few more Pokemon with U-turn or Volt Switch or even Flip Turn would just really have helped this team out a little bit. So, how did we do? All together, we came 4th place in the regular season. So we got 10 wins, 4 losses, and the plus 15 there is our differential, our kill death differential. So it's not quite as big as, so you can see here, 3rd place got the same win ratio, but an extra 20 kills to death ratio. So a lot of our games came quite close. We didn't get too many sort of 6-0 wins, and that's why these teams are sort of plus 35, plus 74 at the top. That's why those teams are getting, like I said, getting way more kills, more sort of 6-0 victories. We didn't get a lot of those. And when we did lose, I'll talk about the losses in a sec actually. So these are the 4 teams that we didn't get to play. That'd be great to have, I don't know, exhibition matches with these guys, maybe after playoffs or in the finals, if any of them make it. If I make it, we don't know, we'll see. So, these are the teams that we beat. Some of them more than once. I was blocking it off here, but we played the Tunbridge Toxapex twice as well. And these are the teams we lost to. So we played the Paldean Pokemons, we played them twice. We lost the first game, won the second set. So let's talk about some of these losses actually. So this loss, and the last minute Lionoons, I did very badly. I maybe got 1 kill out of this, so that's really what took this 15 down. The other 2 sets I did, yeah, again I lost quite badly in this matchup with the Galaxy Gengars. Did a little better against the Torterraformers, it went to 3rd game. So I took the 1st game and then just didn't go too well from there. So obviously Iron Moth here was our offensive MVP, so let's see how it did against the top killers. Not quite in the top 5, but you know what, that's fine. So number 6 I believe was Dragapult from the last minute Lionoons. So Dragapult and Chen Pao as a combo, as a duo, just absolutely fantastic. So 42 kills compared to 45, 46, 47, 57, that's a bit of a gap there, and 58. The top kill of the season was Palafin. But if we look at deaths as well, you see I sort of rival some of these. So we've got about the same number of deaths as Shenpao, less deaths than Gyarados, more deaths than the others. So that's fine. That's fine. I'm happy with how Iron Moth did. Did very well. Got us a lot of those wins. So finally, this is the playoff bracket. These are the 8 teams that are going to be competing in the next 3 weeks to decide the winner. So we are up against the Beedrill Bandits. So we beat them in week 3. I think some of those replays made it into this video. But since then, their team's changed around quite a lot. They've got Sneasler as a Dark Terror, and that's gonna be hard to deal with. So we're gonna have to plan around that. He's made a lot of changes to his team, so it's gonna feel like a new matchup. And then if we win that, we have to go up against the last minute Lionoons or the Queen City Quillfish. So we beat the Queen City Quillfish twice, pretty decisively in our favour, but I think since then they've had quite a bit of an upturn, so I think that'll be a closer match if we come to them. Same against the last minute Lionoons. We did not do very well against that team in the regular season, so I had to work really hard to figure out what I did wrong in that set and plan differently. And then in the other bracket, so the Westside Grafai Plaza's team was sort of the overall winner of the main season. He's only lost 1 set so far, so it would not surprise me if he makes it to the finals, but we'll see what happens with the other teams. There's a lot of potential for any 4 of these teams to make it into that final spot, and I hope I can meet them there. So thank you for watching. If you stuck with us, subscribe, keep up with all our videos. We're going to go into season 4 after this and playoffs in the next couple of weeks, so plenty of videos to come. Have a good one. See ya.